Hello, Internet. It's been a while since I've done a video blog, a vlog, so I thought I would do one of those for just a few minutes and check in with you all and see how you guys are doing and let you know how I'm doing. You might have noticed recently on YouTube that the format of the videos has been a little different and I have looked a little different. Those are videos that I actually recorded right at the beginning of the pandemic. And then the world went to shit and I didn't get a chance to edit them and I never got a chance to post them. And for some reason, those have been in a file on my computer for months and months. And I just recently hired somebody to start editing and trimming down my videos for me. And that was one of the first tasks I gave her. It was like, here, I've got these old ones that I haven't done anything with. So hopefully you enjoyed those. They were a little bit shorter. I didn't have my whiteboard yet. But I do hope that those were beneficial because I think that Candida is just as poorly treated as SIBO and IBS. And I think that some of these conversations need to happen where, going into it guns a-blazing and just nuking the Candida is not really the best choice for most people. And anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that recent video series. Those are kind of oldies now, but I thought that they were worth posting nonetheless. I wanted to share with you some experiences, particularly as they relate to stress and sleep, and just a little bit of relevance to the gut. Now, you guys all know one of my first SIBO mistake videos, I think it was SIBO mistake number 7, was all about stress. And I talked about my crazy roommate and how my gut was just absolutely PO'd on a regular basis. And I've been talking about the effects of stress in FODMAP Freedom. And I told a couple of stories that I thought might be relevant for you all as well, and I hope that it's helpful. And that is to say, I think that we can have a tremendous amount of stress and be actually pretty unaware of it, which is both like silly feeling and also kind of amazing because it goes to show you how resilient the human body is and how much we can put up with on a day-to-day basis. But I will use an example from my own life, if I may, and then I'll get into why that is, and then I'll actually tell you why I'm just like chilling on the couch for this video blog. So when I first started grad school, my school also had an acupuncture program, and I had never gotten acupuncture, and I thought, all right, sure, why not? It's like $5 to go to the student clinic. You're basically just paying for the needles at that point. And I thought, all right, I'm going to get acupuncture because I still had a lot of allergies and like sinus congestion. Side note, because I was eating dairy, that like changed my life when I went dairy free. And I figured, what the hell, I'm going to give it a whirl. And I went in and the intern was totally nice. I was not nervous. I'm not needle phobic at all. And she started doing some points. She did some needles. She put some in my abdomen, some in my wrist, I think. And she went and put one in my foot. And Internet, the only way I could describe this is it was like the floodgates opened up. I have no explanation for it otherwise. It definitely smarted a little, but it wasn't crazy painful. And like, I would hope that one little wussy needle wouldn't take me out, right? So, it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't horrible either. And I started bawling my eyes out, like absolutely like blubbering and sniveling. And I'm trying to find a way to like hold this phone and be comfortable. Just like a nutcase. And I was crying on the table and I totally freaked out this intern. I think it was like her first week in the clinic. And basically I had her just like leave me on the table. I was like, no, just leave me on the table. And I went home and my 2 roommates were both in the acupuncture program, and both of them were like, how was it? Was it amazing? And I was like, I'm never going back again. That was the worst thing. And I told them a story how I just like lost my mind and started crying like a psycho. And they were like, what was the point? What was the point? So I pointed to the spot on my foot and they were like, liver blah, like liver 4. And I was like, what does that mean? And they were like, are you under any stress right now? And literally I looked them square in the eyes and I told them, no, why? And then I thought about it. I was like, actually, I am under a lot of stress. Come to think of it. I just started a new grad school program. Like that in and of itself is kind of a big deal. I had just bought a car because I moved cross country to California and I didn't have a car when I first moved there. My boyfriend at the time, now husband, he was in grad school in Arizona. So we knew that we were going to be doing a 4-year long distance relationship, and that stunk. And I already had low back pain at that point, and I had fallen off my bicycle and re-injured my back, so I was in more pain than usual. And my mom, who I'm very close with, was in the hospital in Boston, and I was in Southern California, and I could not go see her, and she was in the hospital. I forget why now, but it was, I think it might have been like a blood clot or something. It was like something not planned, right? And I realized, and I was like, whoa, I'm actually crazy stressed. And guys, like, I was walking around completely unaware. And as a clinician, this comes up because I ask every single person who works with me, I ask in the intake forms, rate your stress 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, and rate your anxiety 0 to 10. And certainly if you rate your stress and your anxiety high enough, that opens the conversation for some adrenal work and some like gut-brain axis work. But I think even the people who rate their stress really low have the potential to be affected by stress. So just because we're not consciously aware of it doesn't mean it's not relevant. And at some point, God willing, when I get the time and the wherewithal, I'm going to do a series of videos talking about these adaptogenic herbs that can help with the gut-brain axis, because I do find them to be just tremendously beneficial for gut function, I think, via the gut-brain axis. So anyway, that is all to say, you could have a lot of stress and be completely unaware of it. So don't neglect the adrenals, don't neglect that component of it. And I kind of use like the adrenals in quotes. I don't think it really has to do with the adrenals as much as the internet wants you to believe, but that's a topic for another day. But in other news, at this time in my life, I am aware of stress. So I'm taking steps to take care of my adrenals for sure. But I wanted to start the video with that you can have actually a pretty profound amount of stress and be in like survival mode to a point where you're not aware of it, which I think is really fascinating. And again, it seems kind of silly, but also it's a protective mechanism. Your body is protecting you because all it knows is you need to survive, period. And it's going to put you in a mode of like trudging through and just getting you there no matter what it takes. And if it means like bottling up your stress and making it so it never reaches a conscious level, that's going to happen. And I really think, that experience ended up making me a huge believer in acupuncture. And I think acupuncture does what it claims to do. And my experiences since then have reaffirmed that, but I have absolutely no other explanation for why that particular point set me off the deep end, crying and blubbering like a fool for 30 minutes. I have no reasoning other than that. But to that point, I think next week I'm going to schedule myself for acupuncture actually, because I've recently been just scrambling. And this was the beauty of having some of those older videos that I had recorded and I just never edited and posted, is I've shared with some friends recently that I feel like I'm on a treadmill And the treadmill is going 1/10 of a mile per hour faster than what I'm capable of running at. It's like I haven't quite fallen on my face yet, but I'm right there. Like I'm starting to lose my footing. The tread is going out from under me, but I haven't fallen yet. And that's a really sucky place to be in. Like, it's great because for me, I have the benefit, at least, especially in 2020, at least right now, the majority of that feeling is self-inflicted, which I think, is like slightly better. But I have so much going on right now. In the last month or two, and maybe a little bit predating, I decided to up my YouTube to twice a week, right? So I've been posting on Tuesday morning and Friday morning pretty religiously for a couple months, which is wonderful. I love creating content for you guys, but that is more work to be sure. I actually just started a 2-year herbal medicine training program, and the lecture component of it is 5 hours Tuesday night from 5 to 10 p.m. And it's just, that's a chunk of time. So my Tuesdays are very bizarre right now because I have that evening class every single week. So I've got my herbal training program. I am doing FODMAP Freedom, which is wonderful. And I cannot wait to share some of the posts from it and some of the testimonials because we're only halfway through the course. It's a 12-week course, and a bunch of people are already eating a wider diversity of plant foods and some FODMAPs, and it's just fan-freaking-tastic. And I'm loving seeing the progress that people are making. But nonetheless, I'm creating these PowerPoints, and I'm sharing this knowledge, and I'm helping guide people and doing the Q&As. So I've got two live events per week right now for FODMAP Freedom, the lecture and the Q&A. This is actually hot new news. I've been recording a podcast for you all. So I am ultra pumped about that. Like, you have no idea. And the thing is, I've been thinking about podcasting for a while, a couple years, and I haven't pulled the trigger on that because I didn't want it to be just me. Like, my YouTube channel is just me talking, and something about it, I was like, I'm cool with that. I have no problem being on camera, and yet I don't want the podcast to be just me talking because I already have a platform for that. So I wanted a co-host, and it took me a while to really think about who I could stand the thought of talking to about SIBO and IBS and motility and dysbiosis and candida and all of this stuff. It took me a while to wrap my head around who I wanted as a co-host. And I reached out to my dream candidate, if you will, not candidate, but I reached out to somebody who I thought, man, would it be so cool if she would podcast with me? And she said yes. She said she had been thinking about podcasting too, and she also didn't want to do it alone. And she's such a great human being, and she's so knowledgeable, and we're having amazing conversations, and we're recording it all. So if you'd like, you can go ahead and check us out. We don't have any episodes posted yet. The official launch date is October 19th. So stay tuned for that. And we will be on, iTunes and Spotify and those sorts of platforms for audio only. And then we're also going to upload the videos of us talking to a new YouTube channel. So that YouTube channel is called Ibs Freedom Podcast. We're going to be talking about IBS and SIBO, motility, candida, all of the stuff that I talk about here on my channel. We're going to go deep, and we're going to talk about it in IBS Freedom Podcast. So the co-host is to be announced, but I'm super pumped. She's awesome, you guys. You're going to love her so much. I'm still fangirling it up a little bit that she even said yes, and she's just such a cool human being and so knowledgeable. So anyway, yeah. So I've got a lot going on. the 2-year herbal medicine training program, Ibs Freedom, which is like amazing and so fulfilling already. And I adore it, but it's so much. And YouTube twice a week, the podcast. And I just, I suppose in some way, I wanted to let you all know that I've got so much going on because I have not been good about replying to my emails. If you have emailed me recently, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm barely keeping up with my normal workload plus the new things. And also, I haven't been monitoring my YouTube comments as diligently as I try to be. So I'm going to try to make a point of replying to some YouTube comments this weekend. And yeah, that's all. So I probably have to let you go. Yeah, like nowish. I'm actually out of time. I've got to hop on a call here. So onward we go. I came in early just to make sure that I could do this vlog for you guys. Yeah. I hope that you guys are all hanging in there and that the COVID world is not ripping the treadmill out from under your feet. Luckily, the pandemic right now is a minor stressor for me, which is absolutely a blessing. And I'm so grateful for that. I could still do most of what I've been doing. And that's not as holy crap on my radar right now, which I'm very grateful for. Most of my stress is self-inflicted at this point. But like I said, I think my solution is I'm going to go to bed early. I meant to talk about that. Going to bed early, guys, has been like huge for me. It's been a game changer, honest to God. And the first night I went to bed at like 9 p.m. and then I had the most amazing poop in the morning. Like you wouldn't even believe. So yeah, so don't underestimate sleep and just going to bed early. But I think there was one other thing I was going to share. It went out of my brain. I'm sorry. But I think next week I'm going to schedule myself for some acupuncture, and I actually blocked off my schedule all next week, and I'm taking some time off. And I'm going to catch up on some of these things that I've fallen behind on. So those are my solutions right now. Is obviously I still take adrenal, adaptogen, herbal blends. Trying to go to bed early. Going to schedule some acupuncture next week. And I'm just taking a week off from the day-to-day, the grind, so that I can catch up on some stuff, record some new YouTube videos, record some new podcast episodes, prepare for the podcast launch, and basically keep this ball rolling. I have so many things like in my head and on paper. I have a list of topics that I want to do videos on and podcast episodes on. And it's like there's so much knowledge up in this brain that I need to get out into the universe. And I'm very excited to do that. But yeah, bear with me if I haven't replied to your emails or your YouTube comments, or if you're thinking like, why is she posting these older videos for a couple of uploads? That's why, because I'm trying to catch up with the treadmill that's just going 1/10 of a mile per hour faster than what I can run. But I'm going to wrap up this video with this. My latest. All right, so the tour, my painting hobby continues. And all of these I've done 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. So I don't know if you can tell. This one is the villi of the small intestine. So those little finger-like projections that go up into the lumen. And then the splatters are like food. These are the villi if we were to slice them in half. So you could see the individual cells that make up the lining of the gut wall, and then the big, blood vessels and some of the white blood cells down below. Down here, we have a glittery artistic rendition of the portal vein. I talk about this a lot with my patients, that the gut and the liver are physically connected, and all of the blood that gets absorbed, and therefore all the nutrients and all the toxins that get absorbed from the gut go straight to the liver. They don't go anywhere else. They go right to the liver, and then the liver gets to check it out before it goes to the body. This is my version of a cross-section of the gut. So there's muscles, there's the submucosa, there's blood vessels, and then the sparkly, glittery lumen where your food would be. Brussels sprouts, because, come on, we had to have one FODMAP on this wall. This is my abstract artistic vision of the vagus nerve. A very glittery colon. And I use this as a talking point with patients to demonstrate that the colon is full of bacteria, glitter, and the small intestine less so. It's not to say there's no glitter, that there's no bacteria in the small intestine, but it's not nearly as profound. This is my 4-part exhibit of dysbiosis. So normal state of the gut is mostly good guys, couple of bad guys. This person has too many bad guys. This person obviously has candida. And then this person has too many bad guys and not enough good guys. And then last is my sparkly rendition of the progression to leaky gut syndrome. So the big one is a normal gut with a normal gut lining, a normal mucus layer. The bacteria can only get so far into the mucus layer. It's kind of the point. And then the mucus layer starts to thin, but no break in the tight junctions as of yet. And then this poor person has a very inflamed leaky gut. There's almost no mucus layer and the cells are they're just obliterated. But yeah, these are my latest and greatest in the painting. Here, I'll give you the full shot. So now when my patients come in physically into the office, they get to look at these beautiful paintings instead of just a big boring wall of my accolades.